Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 12-Minute Talks podcast. I'm excited to have with us today Ashley Naumann. She's the owner of Beauty and the Boss, and she'll be talking to us today about her three-stage program, which is Know Your Worth, Show Your Value, and Grow Your Business. Ashley, thank you so much for being on today.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so I'm excited to have you on because, a big part of business is not just having who to talk to and things like that, but it's also that you're pricing your services at a right price point, I guess, right? Um, so before we get into more details about what you do, why don't you give us a little bit of your background, how you got into this industry?
Sure. So I've been in this industry for over 10 years now, but I got my original start in the corporate world. So I was in big pharma and big tech, worked on Wall Street for a little while, learned the ins and outs, but really hated the kind of male versus female dichotomy and the wage gap and all of that. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do this on my own. So about 5 years ago, I actually ventured into business for myself. As you mentioned, I'm the owner of Beauty and a Boss, and I specialize in pricing and sales consulting. So a little bit more about my background. My original degree is in math and economics, so I know a lot about the ins and outs of statistics and math. And one of the things that makes me a little different is I also studied the psychology of math, so what people think about numbers, and that's how I got into the business I'm in today.
Okay, nice. So you studied math, I studied finance. I guess we're numbers people.
We are.
Right? Yeah, people are like, what? Like, yes, you need to know your numbers. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
say, at the end of the day, it's how you know if what you're doing is working or not working, right?
So
Um,
true.
yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you help other business owners or women with your three-stage program?
Sure. So one of the main things I find is that over the years, all the women that I've worked with, especially women that have gone from a corporate job to trying to be an entrepreneur, one of the big reasons that they fail is because they don't understand pricing. They think, oh, I'm a new entrepreneur, so I need to charge nothing, or I need to give away my services for free. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not the case. You really can and should charge your worth. So just as I mentioned with the program, the first step is knowing your worth. And the real important part about that is we go through your money mindset to really make sure that you understand this is what the product or service I have to offer is, but this is also what the value is. Because so many people say, I would never pay that. But why wouldn't you pay it? And if you wouldn't pay it, why would someone else pay it? And that's one of those things that people don't realize when they think about, and you see people having 4-digit or 5-digit offers, and then you say, you know what, I could never do that. Well, if you don't think you could do it, how is anybody else supposed to believe you doing it? So that's really where the basis of my
Yeah.
program.
I think that's a good place to start. I always say you can't sell something you don't believe in, right?
That's the
It just comes across.
yeah,
Um,
my go-to phrase is always, you have to believe it to achieve it,
mhm.
because you don't think you can do it, there's no way anybody else is going to think you're going to be able to.
Yeah, it's the truth. And so what do you mean by money mindset? I feel like it's a phrase that's thrown around often, but we don't really get in much detail about what that means. So I guess what would be your definition of money mindset?
So money mindset in the simplest form is literally your mindset about money, which I know that sounds ridiculous, but I actually did a whole Facebook thing about this week, because it really is deeper than that. So what you don't realize is, growing up, you had a philosophy around money. If your parents didn't make much money and you ended up living in a household where you didn't have much extra money, spending on something small could seem like a really big deal to you, versus where you are now in life, even if you've grown, even if you're in the same place. A lot of people don't realize that when they're looking at price and they're thinking about money, they're thinking of their own definition of money, not someone else's. So that's really where we look at money mindset. So we look at, what are your limiting beliefs? So do you think no one's going to pay this price because you wouldn't pay it? Which, number one, we got to clear all that up. But then also taking that the step further, which goes into the show your value piece, and really taking that money mindset to the next stage, where should you be priced? Because we've moved through the fact that, okay, you now know that you're worth it, but does everyone else? And how can you show it? Because what so many people don't realize is, when they're building their pricing and they're building their plans, they don't actually build their price based on anything. They say, oh yeah, I saw somebody else had this price.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their mindset, that gives them validation. But in reality, you don't know if they're high, if they're low, where they are. So really unfolding all of that and taking money mindset back to what should it be versus what it actually is.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's not just copying what you see other people do. It's really charging what your value is for what you offer. Um, and so what about stage 3? How do you help people grow their business?
So this is really so it comes from 2 to 3, obviously. So when you show your worth, one of the ways that the main ways to do this is specifically with most of my clients who are either coaches, consultants, or social media experts and social media managers. They're really the 3 that I work with most often. And what we do is we actually set up pricing and packages that are priced to sell. Because one of the things that you do is when you're building your business, if you just have a single service, but somebody really needs 4 or 5 services, you're not answering their problem and you're not giving them a solution that meets their need. So we really want to build packages that, number one, gets you more business and typically gets you recurring income. But then that, so if you're thinking about all that, well, then that also raises the price. So the benefit with that is you're making more money and your client's happier. So now you're showing them your value because you're actually answering their problem. And then once you can do that, you can really grow your business. So we set it up in a way that your packages make you money. So you have the amount of money that you can afford to outsource, because the truth is nobody can do it all. I can't do it all. And when we learn our boundaries and learn what we want to do versus what we don't, then we can really show you, okay, here's how much money you need to grow. Here's what you need to hire a VA or to hire a social media expert and all those things, if that's not what you want to do and that's not where you specialize in. So we put that money into those packages and into that pricing, and then that also helps you grow your business.
Awesome. So yeah, it's not just like I say the one man band where you do everything, right? Because that'll just lead to burnout. But
Well,
it's
and
very, go ahead.
well, it definitely does. I mean, that's one of the things that we try to avoid burnout, and especially when we're new entrepreneurs, you start to do everything and you're like, nobody's going to do it as good as me. Nobody's going to, well, in reality, most of the time they don't have to, because if you're doing what you're an expert at, you can hire somebody else to do what they're an expert at. And if they're doing it 95% as good as you're doing it, but then you have all your free time to help more people, then you're really using your value. And that's how you really grow your business.
Yeah, definitely. As a business owner myself, that's something I've had to learn through experience, that no, I can't do everything. And so being able to delegate at first for me was tough, right? Because I like to know what's going on and everything, but I figured, well, it's better if I can delegate these tasks that are really suited for somebody else to do, and then I can take care of what I like to do, right? Like talking to my clients and things like that. So
Exactly.
yeah. So I mean, a lot of this podcast is really about what other business owners do to help solve problems, right? Because I think that's what we really do at the end of the day is solve problems. And I think you answered that very well. What you help solve for coaches and for like social media managers. It's good to see somebody that has a niche, because a lot of times it's like, oh, I help women, and it's like there's so many different women out there,
Right.
that it's good to specialize. So Ashley, what's something that sets you apart from other people that do something similar to you?
So I would say a few things. One of the main things in my industry, especially, is it's typically all men. So being a woman in that industry is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm sure you know, as you mentioned, having a finance degree, there's not a ton of women that have finance, math, economics degrees. Typically, it's men. My graduating class, there were 3 of us. So there
Wow.
weren't a lot of women. And so it's one of those things that I have a very unique background. So I saw the ins and outs with all of the Wall Street people, with the people making millions of dollars a year. And I've been able to implement that in my practice. So the real difference is that this isn't just some idea that I'm coming up with. And this isn't, and some coaches do this and some don't, but with a lot of coaching, they give you very fluffy or very theoretical knowledge. And that's not what I am. I'm all about, let's get into the details. Let's make you a real actionable plan. And I think that's one of the things that stands out, because for pricing, I don't want to give you a range. Let's get your real packages built. Let's get you a real value proposition so that you can really grow your business.
Right. And then, ask for the sale, because there's no point in having, oh, look at these three packages, and then not asking for which package would you like, or however it is that coaches do it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a super common problem. You have people that'll get on phone calls and they'll be talking and I'll listen in. One of my extra packages is objection handling and sales strategy. And when I listened to some of these people, I said, you offered so much advice and so much value, but you never asked them for the sale. And they're like, oh, I have to do that? Yes. And I think it's with women, we give so much. We always give all the time. But in reality, it's your business. I mean, if you're just doing it for fun, then it's a charity. It's a difference. So
yeah, I always say, part of, at least part of what I do is educational, but at the end of the day, if the people don't sign up for something, they're not solving anything either,
so true.
Yeah, and so Ashley, where can people reach out to you to get more information to work with you?
So any of my lovely social medias. So you can go to my website at beautyandaboss.com. You can go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/beabeautyandaboss. Instagram is also the same, /beabeautyandaboss. And Twitter is the same thing as well. So reach out to me on any of the social medias.
Awesome. And like always, we'll put all of the links down below so you guys can easily just click and go straight to her website or all the social media sites out there. And I just wanted to quickly introduce myself for those of you listening that might not know who I am. My name's Lorena Tomasini, and I'm the owner of MALM, Life and Health Insurance Agency, where together with my mom, we help families and business owners with their financial protection needs, all done digitally. Ashley, it's been great having you on the 12-Minute Talks podcast. I do have a random question for you.
All right.
Let's see. What do you say is your best productivity hack?
Oh, tough one. Number one thing I do every day that I think totally changed how my life was going. 30 minutes in the morning, that's totally mindset focused. So no phone, no distractions. I get up, do my little morning routine, and then I have 30 minutes where I set my goals for the day, the week, and the month. And I think that totally fixes, because when you get on social media, you start going crazy, you start looking at all this stuff. 30 minutes, no phone, no nothing, me and my goals. And then we drive to them.
All right. Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds a lot better than, the to-do list that never ends.
Yeah.
And really focused, especially with no cell phone or anything like that around. Ashley, it's been great having you on. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, just that thank you for having me, and I hope that everyone has a great rest of their day.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and hope you will listen to the next one. I'm Lorena Tomasini, and you can contact me via email, life@malmins.com. Make it a great day.